Hi friends, this is Stacey and I am here to show you a process video of this Cartabella collection. I'm going to be doing a 2-page layout and that will be on this video, and then I'm also going to do a mini book. It is from Prima Marketing and it's called an 8x8 album, or their large journal. You can see that. And it's this craft color, really great, excellent binding. And I'm going to be doing a mini album, so you'll notice, I bring it up because you'll notice I'm going to cut out paper so that I'll have extras. So here's the kit that I'm working with. I am using these barn stars. They are metal embellishments by Finnabear, or by Prima Marketing, sorry. And there's 4 of them in here, okay? And then, oh no, there's not. There's double that, I think. This one has 2. There's 5. So 2, there's 2 stacked up here. Anyhow, and I'm also going to use this, I guess it was a ribbon actually from a spool that I received. And this is like a texture. I've got a glitter blue that I picked out, navy. This is like a hemp twine kind of thing. And lastly is this green leafy stuff, okay? Also, I've got the ephemera pack from Cartabella that has 33 pieces in it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you the back of it rather than flipping through it right now. Also, Cartabella, this is the stamps that go with the Great Outdoors collection. All of these pieces. I've started using some because I also have the set of dies, and they all come kind of attached together. I practiced doing some stamping already and some other colors that I thought would go with this collection. So these are the dies that go on the outside. You know, you can stamp it and then die cut it, which is super adorable. Okay, keep the dies there, stamps here. Then I have the paper collection. The paper collection is called The Great Outdoors. Has all these different outdoorsy motifs. This beautiful, this is probably my favorite, this dark, deep blue that is in here. Look at that ombre, super fave. Front and back, I've got a fishing, this paper, the first one's called the journaling cards. This next one is called Gone Fishing. This one I've got a couple of called border strips, right? Oh, there's the other fishy one. Sorry, I didn't have them totally in order. This one's called fish flies. Here are the element stickers. I'm gonna set that over here. I have these separated because these ones I want to use in the layout, and these I'll be using in the mini book. This one is called Over the River. That's the front and the back. This is one of my faves as well because of this bright green. Okay, this paper is called Badges. This one I have 2. It is called Forest Friends. These are some of the stamps from the collection. This guy and this guy are in the stamp set. There's 2 of these, and it is called Canoeing. Isn't this cute? This Camp Run-a-muck. Very, very cute. And lastly, I have Let's Camp. It's got this Argyle on one side, and then these motifs, these are common in the stickers. And sorry, I had to put these to the side because so now I want to tell you about the 3 cardstocks that I have. One, this brown, is called Chocolate by Basil. This one's unmarked. So I'm not sure if it is basil or not. I'm sorry. That's unmarked. I'm not sure what color that is. But it looks like peacock maybe. And this one is mango. So these 3 sort of coordinate. All right, I'm going to kind of clean this stuff up, put you on pause for a sec, and I'll be back. All right, friends. You're welcome because I have fast forwarded this section. What I'm doing is pointing out to you the papers that I'm using for the layout. I know it just showed you all of them, and now I'm showing you the sketch that I'm kind of put together after taking a glance at all these papers. I am first cutting up the journal cards, and I just go ahead and cut them all up because even though I know I'm only using 3, I know I'm going to use the rest either as accents in this 2-page layout, or I'm going to use them in the other book that I'm going to do, the large journal from Prima. So I'm just cutting off these branding strips. This is the chocolate cardstock from Basil again. And now I'm just kind of laying everything out. I need to decide what other papers I'm going to use for layering. And you'll see that these 3 journal cards that I have picked out are really dark. So I definitely want to choose something that's a lighter background. And I'm also using the title Gone Fishin'. So I want to make sure that, see that paper that I first chose is called, let me see what this one's called. It's called Fish Flies, right? Now I'm measuring just to make sure that these 2 pieces of paper are going to be the exact same size. The other one I just randomly cut. So I'm going to have some symmetry from the left side. The paper is called Gone Fishing. So there you go. There's where I use my title as well. And now I'm pointing to the back. This album from Prima is about 8 by 8, but I'm measuring it because it ends up being, the width is 7 7/8, and the height is 8 1/8. 8 inches plus 1/8 of an inch. And I am going to cut out behind here from the chocolate basil cardstock, because you're not going to see it. It's just going to be back there, and I want to use this chocolate in my other project. So I'm sure you've done something like this before. I just am measuring how far over I need it to go so that I have at least a wide enough piece of paper, to fit that 8 by 8 album. Or, I'm sorry, 7 7/8 by 8 1/8. So I'm just going to do this on both sides, and then I'm going to glue it down. And so now, whoop, there's the other side. Same thing. What I measured 1.5 inches in, so I'd have plenty of border. And then I measured like 10.5 inches in, I think, or 9.5 for the bottom part. Now you'll see when I'm gluing these on, I'm going to talk about Kathy Zilski in a minute, about how she has taught me the design elements of symmetry and also the common margins around the edge. That's what I'm kind of pointing at. But I am inking the edges of these papers with 2 different inks. First, I'm doing, it's not 2 different inks. I'm pointing to this because it's called Distress Ink. It's an old paper Distress Ink pad, but I have used walnut ink to re-ink it to make it darker. And now the second color that I'm using on here is called, hold on just a moment, I'm going to open my drawer while I'm talking to you. It's Versacolor, and it's called Umber. The color is Umber, Umber. And that's because the papers are super distressed. And I was trying to make them look similar. I didn't do a fantastic job, but it's much better. Now, the trick I learned from Chamel is that when you ink all the edges of stuff, it makes it look like the paper was supposed to be that size from the start. Now I'm using my Tombow Mono Liquid Glue Aqua. Now this glue is not super duper strong like the quick dry type glues, but this one works really well paper to paper, and it's big and it's inexpensive, and so I like using it for paper to paper. And now I'm just going to take those 3 journal cards that I had picked out, the ones with all the beautiful blues, and I'm going to be using this Recollections cardstock. So the reason that I popped this little video I interjected here is because I use this super inexpensive cardstock that I buy at Michael's. I'm having issues pulling the paper out, but it's 65-pound white cardstock. I use it for practicing all of my hand lettering. I use it for making cards, and in this case, I'm going to take a few pieces. I'm just checking to see the weight of the paper at 65 pounds. Here I have it now. I've cut it up into a 5x7 on the left and 3 different 4x3 pieces. Now these are serving as like my fake pictures, my spots where I will put a picture. And the reason I do that is because I'm making this layout as a sample for the scrapbook store in Los Gatos, California. I'm on the design team there, and this is the project that the kit and stuff that she gave me to make samples for the store. Actually, it used to be called Scrapbook Island, and now it is called the Island's Creative Escape. So if you're ever in Los Gatos, California, please check them out. She's just a fabulous lady, and it's rare to have a nice, big, well-stocked, amazing, fun local scrapbook store. At least here in California, it's just everything's too expensive. So I'm grateful for them. So what I'm doing here is I'm showing you my 2 favorite papers that I didn't show you earlier from this collection. I just totally don't want to cut them up and use them. Maybe later, you'll see later that I might have to change my mind. These are all the different papers that I'm just going through to see which ones I want to use. Now that green and yellow and kind of blue is what I will end up using. They're on the right. And that one is called Badges, because see how the backside has all those little badge motif, the detail things. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm measuring my book again. I want to make sure I have it right, because before I cut any of these papers, I want to make sure that I have cut out one sheet of 7 7/8 by 8 1/8. So that, and now I'm going to go through every single paper, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay? I'm going to go through every single paper in this whole collection. And so I'm just going to kind of pause for a second here. I've cut out of that blue, is it argyle? Plaid. It's kind of more plaid. That one? Is it argyle because it's at an angle? Come on, people. I need your help. Anyway, the blue one is, I can't remember what's on the back of it. Anyway, the green plaid is, I believe, the one called Badges, right? Okay. And the blue is called, I think, Let's Camp. Yep. Anyway, so now I'm just cutting up all of the papers down to the size, so I'm going to be able to have enough sheets to cover up my my mini album. Here I am counting them. The album has 6 pages on the inside, and so I'm just trying to make sure that I have 12, right? Because the front and back of each. So this paper is called, that fishy one is called Gone Fishing. Here's the mango basil cardstock. So I'm going to end up with like 3 different stacks of paper. Here's the 3 different stacks of paper. Let me finish my thought, huh? That would be new for me. The one that's going to be my page in the book, and then 2 other piles that are going to be, I'll be using them for layering. And that way I didn't just cut into the paper randomly and then not have enough paper left over for the mini book. See how? Sometimes I think ahead. Now hold on, and I'm going to tell you a little more about it in just a sec. Okay, that was like totally annoying for you, but for me, I now have cut most of my remaining papers. I needed 12 of these for my mini album. So I now have 6 cardstocks and 6 patterned papers that I will need. Ooh, look how pretty. These will be my backgrounds, or on my little album. And I did that now because of these 2 projects I've got going on, right? I want to do a lot of layering, and I will use lots of these pieces for layering in my album and also on my scrapbooking page. So now I have these pieces, and I have no fear of not having enough. I still have some full-size sheets left. So anyway, that's all right. So now you know what I was doing there, cutting all those papers up. Sorry. Back to this actual 2-page layout. Now, here is this beautiful blue paper. I said that I didn't want to use it for this layout because it was just like, I just wanted to stare at it all day and frame it and get shirts made of it, or I don't know what. Paint my walls to look just like that. I love this blue paper. This paper is so beautiful, but once I had my little fake 5x7 picture holder over there, that white cardstock, I noticed that I really needed to balance this left side out, that beautiful blue was on the right. That's what drew me to those journal cards, right? And so it turns out that I really needed to have that there. So now I am just cutting papers from all these extras. Okay, this one's from the journal strips. I'm cutting out, I like that like turquoisey blue, and I'm going to cut a few of these out and kind of play around with them. Let's see. We know that green plaid one is called Badges. And so what I'm doing here is I cut a big, obviously the fish paper, the one that's called Gone Fishing. It's big, it's a big mat. And then I'm cutting just smaller papers. I'm doing both a vertical and horizontal, and I'm kind of creating a corner for my picture to sit on. You'll notice I've got, vertical, horizontal. Okay, we covered that. So now what the heck am I doing? I'm cutting out 4 little rectangles so that they are the same size. Obviously, they are, I think, like 2 inches by 3 inches, something like that. Not exactly, but however thick this paper was. And now I am just tracing on the back side, so it's like a backwards G. Yeah, because I'm going to write gone, and then the next word for my title is going to be fishing. This is a technique, I don't know when I learned it, who I learned it from, so I'm sorry if I don't think I invented it, because I never invent anything. I just see really good ideas and then I copy them. A couple things I'm doing here is I'm using the full rectangle and for my letter. That way I know they're all going to be the same height and the same width, right? Second thing is that the width of like the vertical on the N, I was kind of using my finger there to make sure it was about the width of each side of the O, and about the width of the vertical part on the E, and about that way each of those pieces are about the same also. This is a super easy way to cut out letters that are sort of similar. Mind you, they look hand cut. I'm going to grab my X-Acto knife now, and my desk just has a glass work surface, so I just cut it right on the glass. It's probably going to shatter. I'm noticing, look, there's my reflection. I hope my nose is clear of boogers, so there you go. I don't know why I said that, but anyway, so I'm just cutting out these letters. That's an easy way. Now, see, look, I call this good from far, far from good, right? Don't look closely at these letters. They do not, that doesn't even look really like a G. My daughter came by and she was like, Mom, why does it say cone? I'm like, that's a G, and why does it say cone fishing? Really? Really? Anyway, so I'm back to using my walnut ink that is on this Distress ink pad, and I'm using that little sponge adapter thing. It says, what does it say on the side there? It says Ink Essentials, but I thought it was a Tim Holtz thing. Maybe I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, it's great for getting in these little spaces, and you know what? Everything looks distressed on this whole page, and because the whole collection has that distressing around the edges. So, it's not going to look perfect, but it's going to look done. It's going to all look cohesive. That means similar. It's going to fit like it fits together because everything has been inked. I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier that the white cardstock, the 5x7 and the 4x3 things that are supposed to be where the pictures are, those white cardstock rectangles, those I inked with both the Umber Versacolor, I think it's a pigment pad, those little tiny square ones. They're so cute. I don't do a lot of stamping, so having those little pads of color have served me really well. Anyhow, so those white papers first with the umber and then also with the walnut ink. So you kind of have just a little depth of color with a couple of colors there. So now I'm pulling out another sheet of white cardstock, that 65-pound stuff from Recollections by Michaels. This pen is bomb, okay? It's adorable, it's beautiful. It's Winsor & Newton brand, so it's like that art supply company, and it's a watercolor marker. They must be English. And so one end is a brush tip, one end is just a regular marker, and I am practicing writing fishin' or fishing And I'm going to practice it a couple of different ways because I first do this one and it just seemed, it looked like a little too big for me. I was looking at the other, my layout is to the left there, and I was looking back at it like, oh, I should make it big. And then I was like, oh, this one's too big. So here we go. All you need to know about brush markers is, see how I'm holding it kind of sideways, kind of loose? I'm trying to keep my angle about the same. What's cool about brush markers is this. That thick downstroke, that's what makes it look cool, right? Well, all you do is push a little harder on the downstroke and light on the way up. So now I'm just going to do it again, but I'm going to do it smaller. Okay, this brush is a little bit old. One thing that bothers me about this brush tip, and this is real time, so this is how slow it takes to write these letters. Sorry, I don't know why I didn't fast forward this, but too late now. But you can see then how slowly, and then you have to stop after each portion, right? You just do that little wave, you do the little I, which is called the downstroke. That one's called the overturn, I think. And then there's like a combo, the end of the N and the end of the H, like the second part of it, the H, and the second part of the N. Anyway, the one thing I don't like about it that I started to say, because I never finished my thoughts, are, the one thing is the pen lid, when I have been putting it back in, I don't know if I haven't been careful enough or if I let people use it, and I don't know, but it's kind of frayed already at the end. And these pens run, I think I bought it at some art supply, no, Aaron Brothers. Aaron Brothers is framing, right? But they have art supplies as well. And it was on sale. It was probably like 40% off or something. They have some of these pens also at Michael's. Anyway, so I'm just using my Fiskars scissors, and I'm going to give you a couple tips, which you've probably heard before because, again, I did not invent this. But the scissors are huge. But you'll notice I mostly hold the scissors still. Okay, bad example. I'm moving them there. I'm moving the paper a lot more than I'm moving the scissors because the scissors are big and floppy, and my left hand is really doing most of the articulating here. And that's how you just get a sort of a smooth line. Except for that part, which apparently I had to go back and fix. And it doesn't need to be perfect. Trust me, being perfect is exhausting. Just kidding, don't trust me. I don't know anything about it. Okay, so now everything's just kind of loose. All my papers are just loose. I've laid everything around, and now I'm going to go back and glue it all together. And we're going to do it really fast now. I am using, this is a Tombow, I don't know how to say their name, but this is a 2mm thick foam tape that I'm using because I didn't end up matting those 3x4 journal cards. And so, but I wanted them to have just something, a little something, right? Some height. It's just some visual interest in there. And then it's a place for me to tuck. I tuck under extra things in a little while when I'm going to add a little bit of embellishing. You'll notice that when I do apply the adhesive, that pink one is a Tombow Tombow, it's dots. It's the dot adhesive, the permanent dot adhesive. I'm just going to open my drawer right now and tell you, yeah, it's Tombow Mono Dots adhesive. Boom. It's permanent after a while, but I like it because it's real easy to pull up if you need it, but next month it'll be totally stuck forever. So again, with the foam tape behind my 5x7 photo, watch, which way should I go? I should go up and down because I want to kind of see those branches hanging over. Now you'll see to the left there, I had a strip of paper, that one right there that I'm gluing on currently with the fish flies. I had a floral there that I had cut out of the border strips, but it just wasn't really working. The floral with all the fish and I didn't have anything else floral, and it seemed like introducing a new motif that it didn't look right. So therefore I went back to the fish flies, which is good because that pulls in, it matches the paper from the other side. So it's great. Now I'm using scrapbook adhesives. These are foam squares. They must also be about 2mm thick because it's kind of the same. And I'm just putting it behind all these letters so that, it gives a little more shadow behind there.
I just love it. I love giving some more interest. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue this right on with my dots adhesive. You'll notice I took that fish in and I have distressed it around the edges also with the walnut ink. Now everything's glued down. Isn't it wonderful? I'm showing you the designer dies. There you go. I used a piece of that little square that was left over from cutting out the rectangles from my letters G-O-N-E. And I'm showing you that I had stamped some white cardstock and then die cut it in these two ink colors from Prima. One of them, the red one, is called Ladybug, and the orange one is from that one's from Versacolor, and it's called Orange. Not even some weird fancy name. It's orange. That's it. But when I put them on the page, I didn't really like them as much. I really liked the plain ones that I had just cut out of the mango cardstock. And so I'm going to use a few of those to tuck in. I am hole punching. Look at that. I'm hole punching some extra of this fish flies paper. And I am going to use, of course, the walnut ink. I don't know why this is ending right here. I feel like I'm missing. Sorry for this little, I had a momentary lapse there in recording. I don't know what I did. I am not a professional voiceover actress, in case you didn't know. Anyway, I've now pulled out the ephemera pack, and I just flipped over, I think, the cardstock stickers so that you can see what I'm doing here. And I'm just flipping through all of them and laying them all out, and I'm thinking, oh, that's that flower paper I was telling you about that I did a switcheroo on you. And I'm like, yeah, that one and these other floral things are not really going to work for this page. So I pulled out a few things that I think I could use for layering or some embellishing. And now I've flipped that cardstock sticker sheet back over, and I'm like, what can I use here? What can I use in all these little spots? To the left of the Gone Fishin', I tried that other thing, didn't really like it. Oh, my stickers are totally sticky because I cut all that foam tape. Super bummer. And then I don't like how die cuts have those little, I'm going to call them skin tags. Sorry. That's kind of, when you have like this little tiny thing sticking out the edge, drives me bonkers. So anyway, I'm now using this cute little Wise Owl Outfitters tag. And you'll see I'm going to just cut a little part out of it because it wasn't tucking behind that paper very well from the other adhesive. And I also used red, I keep wanting to call that stuff canvas, but that's not it. That red stuff is actually burlap. That's it. It's a ribbon. So now I've inked the edges of this other tag from the ephemera pack. It said adventurous. And it was really cute. But I wanted to throw this color in and I wanted to tuck it around, so that's what I'm doing. I ink all the edges and stuff, and you'll see I interestingly cut it out. I don't really know. I want to tuck stuff behind, but sometimes my adhesive's in the way. All right, so now I've got that Wise Owl thing, and it's red. So now I'm looking for some other stuff that might have, a little bit of red in it, because I don't have a lot of red going on. I'm just cutting up pieces of ephemera and putting them in. I've located these like 3 places. The left of the Gone Fishin', down at the bottom where I've got the word Lodge under that 3x4 card with the little tint. This is a star, and I pulled out 3. I pulled out a big star and 2 of the smaller ones from the Prima Mechanicals collection. These are barn stars. And anyway, so I got one on the left, but I just don't want to leave it there. I'm going to think about layering some other stuff. And that first little fish was from the ephemera pack, but it had like a border around it and it said fish, but it was like too much white space on there or something. I don't know what. It just didn't seem right to me. So instead, I'm cutting out a fish of one of my little scrap papers. Of course, I'm inking the edges because everything must, right? And now I'm just starting some more layering. And you're going to see that I'm trying out all kinds of these different shapes from the ephemera pack. Yeah, I'm just trying them all over the place. I've also hole punched from the fish flies paper. That's what I'm holding in my right hand currently. I've cut out a few. I think I did five of those, and ink the edges and stuff. And I'm just going to create these, keep kind of building up in these 3 or 4 areas. I love that little lady, Fisher, mama, girl. That's what I've got going on there. Anyway, so I just keep working on all of these areas. Now I have cut 2 die cuts underneath that star. One says nuts for mountains. You know, that wasn't really a sentiment that I have. But I've used it behind the star because then it brought another color behind there. And then I cut the other little tag that has some of the green plaid around and one of the fish flies. And that's behind the star as well. And now this is a Gone Fishing label that I'm putting up in the right corner. And this is one of the barn stars from Prima. So this corner, now I've kind of got stuff glued down, which is nice. I see that fish over there that I cut out, and I want it to go somewhere, but I just didn't know where. So I'm going to stick the mama over here, but I'm first going to, I don't know, I need something else. I've got these little tiny clusters, and I've got like a fish fly, and I've got a fly fish. What are those called? Lures. That's really what they are, right? For fly fishing. It looks like a fly. It's a lure. Anyway, so I'm just layering. I'm continuing to add up all these little areas. So I got the mama down, and now I'm getting the little fly. And so I've got a fly in the top right where I have my 3x4 card that is a little camper. And now I've got a fish fly down by my little 3x4 card that has a tent. And I also have it by the one that's with the boat and the mama. And I'm actually going to glue this. I'm using the flat glue dots to glue on the barn stars. Yeah, this is exciting business, I know. So it still looked like I didn't have enough color in there. And rather than cut some more papers, because so many of the papers have that neutral background. So instead, you'll see that this is the piece that I die cut, the leftover from the basil cardstock. And I'm just putting it behind there so that I have that other color. And I really like the way it works. It just adds another layer of color in there. Excuse me. Now for the fish. Where's that fish gonna go? I'm just gonna be playing around with this for a little while, moving them around, inking everything. Yeah, fish everywhere. Where's it gonna go? I'm spending an inordinate amount of time worrying about this little fish. Normally I'm just like, here, this place looks good, and leave it there. But no, not today. Also, this third barn star, because usually I do threes of something. I'm going to move this star also all over the place, and I'm going to end up not even using it at all. I was thinking gone fishing, period, like end of that comment, but anyway. So here's the die cut from the cardstock, the mango cardstock. I have inked them around the edges with my walnut ink. And I'm just going to put 1 or 2 of them in each of these little spots just to pop some color, add a little bit of that texture in, and kind of do the last completion here. And that's about it, folks. I'm sorry this part took so long, but you'll see I'm going to throw in some other pictures here, some stills, and thanks for watching. I just appreciate it. I hope you're having a great day.